Greetings everyone, here we are with another delightful video. This time I'm going to do a little overview of the Starfinder Playtest Rulebook for 2nd edition. This is not the complete rules for Pathfinder, Starfinder 2nd edition. It says Playtest right here. So these are not the final rules. It will require that you have a core rulebook 1 and the GM core to properly use this, as it does reference those two books. It is a softcover book. It is still, even in spite of being just a playtest, is well over 250 pages. It is softcover, as I said before. You have a nice cover art. You have the back cover. It does denote that you need those books on the back cover, as you've seen before. You open up, skipping past a page, and we get to the very, very basic table of contents. I mean, this is really basic. So basic as it even leaves out all this, leaves out some of the subsections for, say, like skills and feats and a few other things. So this is very basic, as I said. You turn the page over. It gives you a quick overview of what is a Starfinder 2nd edition playtest. It gives you the website, so when you're playing, you can review and give them feedback on your experience. It gives you a quick rundown of what you need, which is the player core and GM core books. And it also states what's in this book. And it even tells you various other things, like the adventure modules that are coming out for Starfinder 2nd edition playtest. I actually have one of them right up here. Give me 1 second. Again, it won't take terribly long because it's not too far. Cosmic Birthday. And there's also a player mat for it as well. So, battle map. So you basically go over onto the next page after do that. It goes over. I do, by the way, love the Skittermanders giving the Vesk a headache. But anyways, talks about languages and even sign language. So you can have a character that is deaf or mute, and they can sign language to various other people instead. And that sign language could be in the form of Vesk or Yosoki or anything else like that. So Yosoki sign language, Vesk sign language, and so forth. Then it goes over the species, such as android. The art style for the android changed quite a bit, or at least the default art style for the android. It goes over the basic information, the feats for the android, and then it goes right on to the next stage, like the breakthrough. Please note that for the playtest, they have decided to include species that are not the typical humanoid in form. It was a constant joke amongst some people who didn't know or realize that there was actually quite a few species that weren't humanoid in shape in Starfinder. That Starfinder had tons of humanoid species. Humanoid species are just the bread and butter of any sci-fi or science fantasy TTRPG or system. And this is simply just because the humanoid form is fundamentally the most familiar form to the humans. And being that it's easier for you to understand, 2 hands, 2 feet, a head on top, kind of stuff like that. Maybe actually a second set of arms, That's not terribly far off of the level of comprehension for most people. So, anyways, yeah. So, what they don't realize is there was, in the original Starfinder First Edition, even in Alien Archives 1 and 2, there was tons of species, like the Brethru, that were not humanoid in shape. So, it was not a problem. It was just a thing that people only got the core rule book and saw humanoid species after humanoid species after humanoid species after humanoid species. And didn't go the next step further and look into the Alien Archives or any of the other side books. So there you go. They included Panthera as a new core species, and for whatever reason they decided that this Panthera should be a house cat. I think this is a byproduct of people who live their entire lives in cities, having a fundamental only understanding of first-hand experience of having just like cats and dogs as their pets or being around them. The only animals that they regularly spend time around with is animals. So that's their default state they go to, and the default art style they favor is just common everyday pet animals and stuff like that. But you will see in various other parts of the book, Skittermanders are now core species. That's awesome. Skittermanders are basically the goblins of Starfinder, but even crazier, believe it or not. Do like the match, kind of the Tokyo pop up Skittermander. And then you have Vesk, and so forth. And then in here you got some stuff for, skipped a page. You got Ratfolk, or the Yosoki, and their feats. And then we have what we call versatile heritages. These can be any species. However, it is a special variant of that species that occurs from something like a near-death experience, an accident. Their life force was infused with cosmic energy, or the drift, like these guys right here, and so forth. So there you go. You got a nice little section on backgrounds. This is pretty standard. If you are familiar with Pathfinder 2nd Edition or Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remaster, this looks just dead on the same kind of framework right here. You have a quick little overview of the various classes that are in the system. Witch Warper is now a part of the core classes. You got Envoy, which is basically just like a bard, but with guns. And then you have all their important feats and stuff like that. And then you have the Mystic, which is basically kind of... I think the Mystic is more like the Cleric, if my brain is clicking correctly. And you have all the important features right there. Cleric / Druid like traits. Standard setup for them. You got the Operative, which is basically the rogue of Starfinder. Yet again, I'm not going to show you every single thing because you got a Brethru who is a operator or operative. Then you have a Solarian, which is basically the paladin of Starfinder. And we have a Soldier, which is basically the fighter of Starfinder. And then we turn a few more pages and we get the Witch Warper, which is kind of like the Warlock of Starfinder, but not quite. Warlock Sorcerer. We got the section on skills in here. Throughout the entire book, there is all new artwork throughout it. Really nice text. A lot of dead space because this is a playtest, and it's not worth their time optimizing, making use of all the space in spots. And it's just really pointless to do that. However, it is nice and handy sometimes to have blank spaces so you can jot a note down or something, or just stick a sticker in there. Explaining various cultures, weapons, equipment, all your fun toys and tools. You have a lot of melee weapons as well as ranged weapons. Most people who play Starfinder, the biggest thing is ranged weaponry overall, but there are occasionally people who fall in love and focus heavily on the melee. You have some augmentations, so if you're familiar with Cyberpunk or Shadowrun or anything like this, you got various other items that you can add into your character, like replacing a hand and with a blade or an eye, or a mechanical spur that pops out that has poison in it or venom, and so forth. Stuff that fixes your eyesight and so forth. Hyper nerves, stuff that increases your reflexes and so forth. You got various magic items in the system. Magic Girl. Clearly inspired by Sailor Moon. Various spell gems, tech gear, such as tablets and scanners and sensors and so forth. Chapter 7 is all about spells. There's not a lot of spells in this book. There's only just a couple pages of them, but just enough to give each class their own little pile. They are organized by the Pathfinder setup, such as arcane spells, divine spells, primal spells, and occult. Occult, primal, and there should be also force spells in here as well. Various spell descriptions and so forth. You got avatars. There's the focus spells right here, an entirely different section, which is split up amongst all the different classes that can gain focus spells. And then we have Chapter 8, which is all about deities in Starfinder. A new deity is born in Starfinder 2nd Edition, which is part of the reason why the universe changes, as well as the events that occurred from Drift Crisis. So you get a whole new bunch of stuff, a whole new bunch of changes, new levels and spells. You have this really nice player sheets. By the way, I probably would copy these out and save them. I am personally concerned that Paizo is going to go back and do their typical shenanigans and put in all kinds of blocks of color and objects into the character sheet once it gets official, and it becomes shit again. Generally, these minimalist game player sheets are the best sheets there are, as it's very easy to read them and denote details down in the margins of them. Some of the really artistic or really boxy designed ones, like the original Pathfinder 2nd Edition character sheets, were terrible, because you had all these like purple, you had red box here and red box there and red box, red box, red box, red box. And then you had all the little text in the boxes and outside the boxes and wrapping around the boxes, and it turned into a mess for people with dyslexia and other reading impairments. You got the orc notice, which basically indicates that this is post-OGL. You got an advertisement for the next wave of products for Starfinder 2nd Edition Remaster. You have the Cosmic Birthday, Empires Devoid, Flipmat Playtest Multipack, and Playtest Scenarios. You can easily see here, I got Cosmic Birthday, and I also have the multi-pack for the maps. This one is coming out in a few months. Cosmic Birthday is I believe it's a first level adventure. It's a paced out. If I remember correctly, it states in the 2nd edition book that Cosmic Birthday is level 1, and then they'll have a level 5 adventure, a level a level 5 adventure, a level 10 adventure, a level 15 adventure, and a level 20. Oh, right here. Additional playtests in Cosmic Birthday. Each one, favorite convention. The adventures are for levels 1, 5, 10, and 15. Each stands entirely on its own rather than relying on other adventure products, giving you plenty of opportunities to fit them into your overall playtest experience. Whether you want to experience the first contact with the lost civilization, explore a derelict starship, battle terrifying creatures on a televised game show, or delve into a Magitech dungeon, these adventures are sure to fill your Starfinder playtest needs. And there's the artwork again for Emperor's Devoured. So, if you don't have Cosmic Birthday, there it is. This Cosmic Birthday MSRP is for $24.99, where the Starfinder playtest is $47.99. This is only really worth it if you are really into wanting to play Starfinder or Pathfinder 2nd Edition, but in space and in the future. Overall, it is very nice. I do not know if they're going to release a updated version of the Pathfinder Starfinder 2nd Edition playtest rulebook. There was incidents various times in the past in which Paizo did that with the original Pathfinder 2nd Edition, where they had a few different versions of the playtest book that was released in different waves that had different variations on the rules was leading up to the final version that we got, which incidentally kind of turns out was also a playtest or Pathfinder 2nd Edition remaster. But anyways, overall, my only gripe about it is $47.49 for a playtest book. You can get these rules free online on Archives of Nethys and other sites. However, kind of really want to have a physical book so I could hand this out to players, and if we decide to want to play a Starfinder 2nd Edition playtest adventures, we can do that. Boom. And I have Cosmic Birthday, and I have the adventure flip mats that's for Cosmic Birthday. So there you go. I would say this is probably the only catch is that this requires that you have the player core book and GM core book to run this, because it doesn't have all the core rules for the system in it. This is just mostly the important stuff specific to Starfinder 2nd Edition playtest and what they need to change from Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remastered to Starfinder. So there you go. My only sad note is that there is no kinetic AC and there is no energy AC in the system. It is universally merged into, as far as I can tell, the new one type of AC system there is. Which is saddening because I really like the idea of having a kinetic AC and a energy AC. But there's only one type of AC. Well, technically, you have your flat AC and you have your all your armor capability AC. You know, the flat foot difference versus the unguarded difference versus the regular full AC. So there you go. I wish Paizo, if you happen to see this video, please try to keep your player sheets more simplified and organized, and do not let the artists get their hands on the character sheets and start putting stuff all over them. You have a system that is fairly chonky. This is probably like a 7 or a 70 range on the chonky crunchy scale of TTRPGs. It's a bit more chunky than in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition 2014, which is a 5, which is a 55 on the crunchy scale, and the 2024, which is a 60 on the crunchy scale, where yours is more like a 65, 75 range, crunchy range on the stats. So once you start, it's probably 75. I'll say, yeah. Starfinder Second Edition and Starfinder Second Edition and Starfinder Second Edition Remaster are 75 in the crunchy zone on the scale. My overall rating for this book, based on my understanding on Starfinder and my limited experiences with Pathfinder and Starfinder, is that this is probably solidly, if you are a person who wants to play Starfinder Second Edition as soon as possible and have the rules in your hands, this is a must-buy, and this is a 3.75 star thing. Just because it forces you to have 2 other books to know all the important stuff that goes into this book. If you're not a person who really wants to play Starfinder Playtest Second Edition, you can just forget about it. This stuff is going to change anyways from Starfinder Second Edition Playtest to the official final version. And to be frank, buying a book just to have it is not always a good idea. So there you go. But if you're a kind of person like me who enjoys looking at different systems and maybe playing some of them at some points, at various points in time, yeah, this is a neat thing to have. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a delightful day, a nice night, a delightful day, a nice night, a wonderful week, and a magnificent month. And see you next time. Ciao. And Sassy's back to hiding under the blanket, get napping again. Charging up for another walk. You heard the walk?